Guys, you gotta help me. Am I washed? I don't know what to say. I beat Ascension 20 in Slay the Spire, and in Slay the Spire 2, I'm getting absolutely rinsed in Ascension 1. Anyone played that? You've played Slay the Spire 2? I'm getting demolished. I don't know what the fuck. I'm pausing, I'm thinking. I wonder if it's my attention span. You know, you said that yesterday. Yeah, it's still a problem. Bro is not Northernlion. Northernlion's Slay the Spire 2 VODs fuck me up because I watch him. He's barely paying attention. He throws the cards that afflict a vulnerability last in the turn order. His deck does nothing, and then he wins. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm like, my perfectly calibrated... every single card has an optimal function. I removed every strike and every defend from my deck. A 13-card deck that has a flawless cycle. Every need is fulfilled. And then I died to the Act 2 boss. Because unlike some streamers, he actually plays games. Yeah. Keep it up. Keep it up. What was that? The enemies in Slay the Spire 2 are objectively harder and Ironclad sucks ass. Ironclad does not suck ass. Come on. He's the easiest class. A complainer when he meets a person 1% more complainy than him? Fuck you. I'm not a Kenshi kind of guy. That's not my kind of flair. That's not my flavor. People are moralizing Hasan having expensive clothes again. Hasan's $690 button-down shirt alone can feed a family of 4 in Cuba for a year. Just truly phenomenal analysis as always. I don't understand why. Like, the weird thing to me is that, like, they don't apply this to literally anything else. Republicans say that veterans don't make enough money. Oh, but you own a private jet. Why don't you sell it then give money to veterans? Everyone says everything, then why don't they liquidate all their assets and give money to that? You say you're pro-gay marriage, but I noticed that you're married to a woman. That's a little bit suspect, don't you think? If you're actually pro-gay marriage, don't you think you should be normalizing it by being in a gay marriage yourself? Otherwise, you're kind of indicating to people that you're not really committed to that position, like it's a virtue signal. If you were actually in a gay marriage, you would be more, you know, it would be more convincing to other people that you actually support it, which is, you know, essential because the, you know, disingenuity of that position is what people attack. They say that you're being insincere. Oh, you think that teachers don't make enough money? Okay, then why don't you liquidate all of your assets and go give money? It's meaningless. It's like does Israel have a right to exist? It's a thought-terminating cliche engaged with by low IQ people who aren't actually trying to make a point. What was my bit? Conservatives in lieu of an argument, gesture and imagine hypocrisy. These people just hate socialism and don't care about anything else. It's an ancient tactic. I mean, what's that quote? When I was poor and I talked about the wealthy, they said I was bitter. When I was wealthy and I talked about the wealthy, they said that I was hypocritical. I just think they don't want me talking about the wealthy. Anyway, have you seen how gross the New Liberals group is being about the Cuban aid flights? The New Liberals group is a psyop. Basically, all of the right-wing, anti-left, liberal online orgs are a product of corporate investment. You know, they're like those third-way Democrat types. Like they literally, like, companies get together and pool money to try to bring people together. What is it? The Center for New Liberalism? Yeah, stuff like this. If your like haha meme shitpost Twitter page has a fucking .org attached to it and a communications manager, it's probably not like a real thing. It's fake. There's basically no like constituency here in the real world. Young, sort of snide, economically centrist or right-wing liberals who post NATO VHS tape wave edits about how gay marriage is mandatory. This is like an almost exclusively online group of people. For the most part, young people today are very polarized, very radicalized. Not at all like this. Scary how accurate the Disco Elysium was about such things. Yeah. Tobin is a fake-ass name. It is. Jesus. Prior to that, Colin was a consultant at the Bates White Economic Consulting, focused on healthcare antitrust. How'd you get a consultancy gig? Hold on 1 second. You're pretty young to have a consultancy gig. Did you have an inroad? Colin Mortimer, Director, Center of New Liberalism, on the Federalist Society webpage. That's interesting. Oh, he's spoken there before. Private Substack. Oh, he's been on C-SPAN. What a well-connected individual. No Wikipedia page, though, which makes me wonder where this all comes from. God, look at this fucking psyop, man. PPI, radically pragmatic. That's from progressivepolicy.org. Oh, what are you progressive about? We're progressively pragmatic. What does that mean? You're not getting any healthcare, dog. What? No. What does that mean? You're gonna die in debt, motherfucker. This ain't your grandma's progressivism. Your ass is working 6 days a week, 12-hour days. It's pragmatic. Christ. Antitrust consultant at Bates White Economic Consulting, working on competition and quantitative litigation matters. He holds degrees in economics and mathematics from the University of Connecticut. Founder and director of Center for New Liberalism, a global network of young center-left advocates working to advance pragmatic, pro-growth policy ideas. How interesting. So they're new liberalism, but the liberalism in this case just seems to be laissez-faire economics. Like, my understanding is that liberalism, as like a broad slate of philosophical beliefs, also refers to economic liberalism, or social liberalism, political liberalism. But it seems like he's exclusively interested in the pragmatic pro-growth policy ideas. They're all psyops. Nobody believes anything except for you and me. You and I are the only real humans on Earth. Everyone else is a robot. Everyone else is a simulacrum designed to test you. God is testing you. Remember this. I'm over God's bullshit. He do be whiling. That is true. Even the laissez-faire people in Europe believe in free healthcare. Well, that's not even remotely true. No, that's absolutely fake. There are agents of capital in every single Western European country that are working to dismantle your healthcare systems, and they've been succeeding over the past few decades. So, like, to be clear, it's very important to keep that in mind. Here's Ehud Barak and Epstein talking about importing Russians to control the quality more effectively of settlement. Oh, I think I've heard this one. In his 3.5-hour conversation with Jeffrey Epstein and Larry Summers in 2013, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak, what a wonderful country, also provides an intriguing insight into the racist nature of the Israeli state.
What he's saying is the future of Israel. I mean, something will happen in Iran. Maybe we'll succeed, maybe we won't, and that'll make it worse. But the demography seems terrible. Nobody sane seems to be procreating, and everybody insane in their own way seems
the demography seems terrible. Nobody sane is procreating.
They have 5 children. You know, whether it's Arabs or Orthodox, they have 5 children. If you're regular Israeli, you have 1.5 children.
The Haredim are more productive than the Arabs. I think we cancelled some of the. We had exponential support function for productivity. So something bizarre. Rather to be an S-curve, it became exponential. And always when I meet a friend with 3 children, telling another 2 and you are deep into the social security trap. That's your job. You can sit idle. No, I don't. The future of Israel is waking up at the right moment before it's too late, putting a wedge on this drift along the slippery slope toward one-state nation. First of all, because with one-state nation, it will be even faster. Yeah, it will be bi-nation at first, and then within a generation with an Arab majority.
It is hard to understand him, unfortunately. Barak believes Israel needs to wake up before it is too late. The country, he says, is drifting along the slippery slope to a one-state nation with an Arab majority. The solution, to break the monopoly of the Orthodox rabbinate on marriage and funerals and whatever the definition of a Jew, and to accept massive conversion into Judaism. In a successful country, many will apply. That way we can control the quality much more effectively. Unlike the founders of Israel, who had to accept people from North Africa, from the Arab, now we can be selective. So, in other words, pull white people from Russia and convert them to Judaism so they can keep Israel a white state, rather than having to dilute the racial purity of Israel with Arab and North African Jews. It's one of the reasons why I say that Israel isn't even really about Jews. They care about white people, not Jews. Like the Netanyahu is agnostic. He's not a practicing Jew. They don't give a fuck. Like, non-white Jews are dirt to them, you know? Why Russians? Probably because Russia's also an evil country. I don't know. The Haredi ultra-Orthodox are going to be the majority, and for religious reasons they don't serve in the military. Yeah, these people are, like, demographically fucking useless. These guys were the subject of that retard's video, right? The guy, Nick Shirley, when he made that video, like the secret Jewish cult that runs this New Jersey city or whatever, and it's just that this one group of Jews who all live off welfare. These people are demographic dead weights, so I don't know. Hopefully they collapse the state of Israel. No, it was a different guy. No, I'm pretty sure it was Nick Shirley. Almost 1 in 4 Israelis will be a member of the ultra-Orthodox community. Damn. It was Tyler Oliveira. Nick Shirley reposted it. Yes, Nick Shirley reposted it. That's it. He supported it. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. How does this work? Why do they receive these benefits? Well, in America, like me, you can get welfare if you're poor. 25% of the population, man. That is crazy. Crucially, they're also exempted from military service. I don't think these are the same types of Jew as the guys in New Jersey, but these guys don't do military service. I'm trying to see, what the name of the... Is it just the wives that work? That's so fucking funny. So the guys are useless. All they do is study the Torah all day. But the women work? That's crazy. Holy shit. That's so base. That's funny as fuck. Matriarchal W? Hold on. Nobody said matriarchal, okay? These are extremely chauvinist, right-wing Jewish communities. Not even remotely progressive. Article essentially spoke about how the ready Jews are leeching resources from Israeli society and not giving anything back to return except for their Torah learning. That's funny as fuck. That's totally true, though. Tyler Olivier has a video about it. Yeah, that's what I was just referencing. Super, super anti-Semitic video, mind you. But, like, if I could control policy in the universe, yeah. If there were entire religions of people who are like, nope, can't work, too busy reading the script, I would send their asses to the mines, for sure. 100%. Your religion says you can't work? That's crazy. Well, your rent says you do. So, you decide. What was anti-Semitic about it, though? This video? This video is crazy This video, for one, Tyler Olivieri is, like, super-duper far-right. Like, just as, like, a early informant or, like, early information dump before the video. The whole video is him going, like, it's so strange these Jews won't talk to me. What are they hiding? What are they hiding? They're not hiding much. You know what they're hiding? They're all welfare leeches because they're a hyper-religious Orthodox cult where they don't work and all they do all day is study the Torah. Like, so, like, the implication from the video is that these guys control the state or whatever. These guys are so powerless they don't even have money. Like, they're the opposite. These are, like, the implication is that this is the same type of Jew that aligns with the JQ, like New York, banker, super powerful. They're literally the exact opposite. Like, there are powerful Jews in politics and finance, of course, and those Jewish people look down on these guys because these guys are bums. But the implication from the video is that, like, they're all part of this cabal. It's the JQ. It's a JQ video. Jesus was a bum. Jesus was a carpenter. Thank you. Like, your dumbass could fucking line up a joint. Bet you could roll a joint, you useless piece of shit.
You work for Hamas?
Yeah, it's a good opener, though. It's a good opener.
Kids out here.
The community is based on this. So
okay, so is it wealthy members of the community give charity?
Yes, mostly. That's the way.
Are most people on Medicaid, SNAP, EBT? Let's be honest.
I don't know. I can't speak for other people.
What about you?
I'm not going to tell about myself.
Okay.
A lot of these folks have business there. Not all of them. Okay. Some of them.
But there's a lot of you guys, right?
Some of them are being supported by community members.
Okay. What's the big industry for women out here? Is it childcare? Because I notice Mexicans seem to work like retail, construction. Many men will tell me my wife works, but I do not.
That's not true.
That's what they told me, though. They themselves.
The first 2 years after they get married.
Okay.
Only the first 2 years.
Okay.
And then they go work. Most men.
Okay. All right. How many kids do you have? I'm gonna guess you have 13? They all vote unanimously in favor for it. Look at this. There's a car accident every 5 seconds. Some of the driving out here is horrendous. It's truly terrible. What do the Jewish people here do for work, from what you've seen? Do they just pray, or?
No. So, yes, they pray every single day, and they work every single day after this happens.
After they pray, they go to work?
Yeah. They drive in a school bus and a transit bus.
Excuse me, gentlemen. What do you guys do for work here? Do you guys have, like, businesses, like work a job? Do you guys study Torah?
I have a job.
What do you do?
I'm in sales.
Are you lying to me? Just the way you looked at them, I'm just like, what? Is it just ink?
They don't have jobs. Most of them don't have jobs. They don't have jobs. Why is he randomly just harassing people? That's his job. This guy looks sick, by the way. This guy's lined the fuck up. Holding frame. A play-by-play breakdown of Tyler Olivier's anti-Semitic video from an ex-Hasid. Oh god, that's an hour and a half long. We don't have to do this. Do you still support socialism after watching these guys? Oh, this, I mean, listen, you talk to who you want. I'm not pro-work abolition, okay? I'm keeping your ass down in the mines, all right? I'm making it, listen, my brand of socialism, work gets to be 5% more fulfilling, and lunch breaks are 70 minutes instead of 60. That's what you get, okay? Fuck you, get back to work. I'm cracking the whip. I love the mines, yippee! What's the difference between Xi Jinping and an emperor in terms of how his job actually rolls out? Well, I'm not an expert in the subject, but I'm pretty sure that Xi Jinping is basically like the ultimate bureaucrat. Like, he's the head of state, of course, but also he's has like a managerial job. An emperor usually is a symbolic ruler with ultimate authority, but the actual like day-to-day decision making is handled by people beneath him. He probably has fewer concubines than an emperor does, but I could be wrong on that. That might not be true. He's in for life. Xi Jinping, yeah, that is true. That is one way in which he is similar to an emperor. It is a fact that Xi Jinping is a better ruler for China than Trump is for America, but that's a pretty low bar. I guess I would argue that like Xi Jinping in his lifetime has secured a greater degree of political and material development in China than American leadership has in the past 20 or so years over here. All America has done in the past 20 years has seen its institutions, its physical world gutted in favor of financialization, which Xi has tried to prevent to an extent, though China is also capitalist and therefore eventually will be, you know, subsumed by the same interests, I think, unless something changes. So China's winning? China's objectively winning on the global stage right now. Absolutely. Take a look at changing graph over time of which country the respondent trusts more, America or China. Over time, more of the world has shifted towards China as America has grown increasingly erratic. Canada is getting tighter with China. Vaush, the person you responded to in YouTube chat, is a monarchist who thinks their divine rule of kings follows from their paganism. I can't speak to the mental illness of people that I respond to. I just see text and I respond to it. I will say, though, that the reason Xi Jinping is a good ruler is precisely because he's not an emperor. Monarchy is an inefficient system because you're telling people that they have a right to rule just because of their bloodline. You're not, for one, there's no meritocratic element to it, and two, you're not providing a good incentive structure. That's why, like, over time, inevitably, like, basically every good monarch was actually just passive and compliant as the people beneath them did the real work. Historically, good monarchs, like monarchs who actually did the leading themselves, incredibly rare, because you're literally just selecting for a random fucking guy, a random rich guy. Usually the good, successful, stable monarchies had an aristocratic class or like advisors or whoever else who did the real work. The monarchs were just symbolic. Xi Jinping is a bureaucrat. You know, I mean, he's a very powerful bureaucrat, but his his incentive structure is responsive to the needs of the Chinese state, or his perceived needs of the Chinese state. You know, of course, he's not omniscient. That's true, Monesic, yeah. He does have a cult of personality? Yeah, for sure he does. I feel like you're misreading a bit here, Vaush. I think monarchs did take an active role historically if you go back to like the Middle Ages. No, I know that. I'm saying that when we think of the good monarchs in history, it's usually their underlings doing the work. When monarchs made big sweeping totalitarian decisions, like, I'm not going to be responsive to the wishes of the people beneath me, I'm just going to do my own changes, they were usually fucking insane. Monarchs have usually just been the head of state, a legitimizing mechanism. The divine right to rule here is unambiguously the guy meant to lead, but the real people in charge are the people beneath him, because a king doesn't bother with every little bureaucratic decision made in his kingdom. The king is just there to be a show of force, to rally soldiers to his cause, to make sure people are paying their taxes, that kind of stuff, you know. The authority figure around which power orbits. But just because power orbits around the king doesn't necessarily mean that it's the source of it. I don't know what the fuck is going on in YouTube chat. Wasn't the aristocracy almost always the most powerful class in a monarchy, less the king? Yeah, usually. What about the new Invincible season? I just can't with the animation, man. I know it's a crazy thing to get annoyed by, but it's fucking wild that there are like year year-and-a-half long gaps between each season, and each season looks worse than any standard seasonal anime. And they spend so much money on it, too. It's insane to me. I don't know where the fuck that money goes. They spend all their money on fucking voice actors. Stop dropping so much money on voice actors. Do you hold JoJo to that standard? I don't think that's comparable. David Productions produces way more, way faster. It's much more interesting and entertaining to look at, and there's less money going into it. Far less money. How much? Hold on. 1 second. Fucking Invincible season budget. Invincible season 4 had a significant budget. They don't disclose this stuff. Some reports suggest a measly 10 to 12 million was allocated for animation in some seasons, with a substantial portion of the overall budget going to the voice actors. Really embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing. According to Masamune Sakaki, a CG creator in the anime industry, the average 13-episode anime season costs around $2 million to make. Meanwhile, Invincible cost 4 or 5 times that, and looks worse? Rough estimates. Why is so much Western animation convinced that getting big names is more important than the animation itself? Because in the West, animation is thought of still as like a kid's thing, which is why 90% of animated television shows are adult comedies, or like that aren't for children, are adult comedies that are contemptible and not meant to be taken seriously. They don't really treat it as like a legitimate art form. There are some that do, of course. I don't know, fucking Scavenger's Reign. The animators for the Castlevania series on Netflix, very, very, very good talent there. There are plenty that buck the trend, but I think that like Invincible is a great example of, well, this is animation, but it's meant for normies, so the animation isn't what matters. What we really need is really fucking top tier voice actors. By which we mean expensive voice actors, not good voice actors. What are we arguing about? A lot of anime is unwashable trash? Yes, but Invincible is just too expensive. That's my point, basically. Ay. Russia's going through it right now? Longtime pro-Putin blogger published a tirade against the Russian president. Now he's in a psychiatric hospital? That's so funny. Published a Telegram post called 5 Reasons Why I Stopped Supporting Vladimir Putin. Days later, he was reported to have been hospitalized at a St. Petersburg psychiatric facility. Oh my god. That is very Russian. This guy was heavily involved with the government, harassing Navalny for them for years. Yeah, I don't really care if anything bad happens to him, I guess. He was a dog of the state for years, and he finally bucked with it, and now instantly he's getting windowed. Like, I don't know. Why does he look like he's 15 but also 40? All Russians look like that? No, I think typically Russian 15-year-olds just look 40. I love learning so much. It's part of why I hate AI so much. Hashtag Elden Ring. What the fuck am I looking at?
How does the Crucible Knight hit so far
Why am I looking at this?
behind him during his thrusting attack? You may have seen videos showing how his hand freakishly does a 360 and seemingly hits everything around him, but this is misleading. When the game's running at 30 FPS, this never happens, while at 60, only 1 frame of this motion is simulated. This is because the weird 360 is the result of faulty interpolation between keyframes 33 and 34, which is keyed in 30 FPS. So at double the frame rate, the game will only generate 1 interpolated frame between these two. However, by way of a separate system I call hitbox...
Unironically, we could solve so many weird issues with frame rate bugs in gaming if we just accepted that we don't need anything more than 60 FPS and all gaming was just programmed with that expected FPS. I don't care if you think you can perceive things at 120 FPS. I don't care. You're fake. You're literally delusional. I don't care. 60 is all we need.
interpolation, the game attempts to generate intermediate hitboxes between the hitbox from the frame before.
I'm so tired of the NVIDIA PSYOP where they pay every developer to make every game by default have an uncapped frame rate. So when I'm playing fucking Lethal Company with friends or whatever, I'm running it at 217 frames per second somehow. Like, and it's taking up 1/2 of my computer's resources. Why? Why is it doing that? Why doesn't it start capped at 60 so at the very least you can move it up of your own volition? Why the fuck does it start uncapped?
And the hitbox after. If we render these hitboxes, we can see that it does cover some space, but not nearly enough to explain how he's hitting me in this clip. For this kind of hit to happen, multiple things need to go wrong at once, and normally, 2 out of 3 of those conditions are met. First, the attack needs to have a wonky frame. which it does.
Interesting. I didn't realize that this was a part of frame interpolation, but I have been hit by the Crucible Knight's weird, finicky sword swing wraparound. Model becomes first transgender person to walk Chanel exclusive runway at Paris Fashion Week. Jesus Christ. I mean, she sure looks like a model. I feel like there should be more transgender models because all of them are already 6'2" hyper androgynous. Like you'd think trans women would be dominating the modeling market because like it's like the inroad. You know what I mean? They won't hire us. That's crazy. Well, slay. Oh God, rat fucker, gross. They're very common in some places like Rick Owens. That's because Rick Owens is spiritually trans femme. That's not true. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me. But, like, Rick Owens does look like that, you know? Anthropogenic activities are increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. There's mounting experimental evidence that lifetime exposure to these increasing CO2 levels can negatively impact human. Oh, this is very real. Yeah, CO2 poisoning. Over time, you get more listless if you, like, the higher concentration of CO2 in your environment, the more this affects you. This is actually one of the reasons. Did you ever notice that when you were a kid and you were going to school, you felt fine going to school, but then when you're in class, you're like zombie moding, and then when you leave, you feel alert again? That's because a lot of American schools have bad ventilation, so a lot of CO2 piles up in them. You take a CO2 monitor to that, you see it's like 1,500 parts per million, 2,000 parts per million, whatever else. It's actually very bad for you. If you want to maintain good health and stay like mentally so-and-so, you should keep your windows open. You know, you should try to circulate. Germans do this. Germans are good with this. Every day they like open all their windows, even when it's winter, so the cold air comes in. Whoosh. You know, I actually have a CO2 monitor. I have one right here. We can see how mentally compromised I am. Yeah, it is good for you to keep your windows open at night. Let me see if I can. Oh, where is it? Where's the damn USB? Why'd you beat? There we go. Okay, hold on. It's taking a reading. I bet you it's going to be bad. 3 seconds remaining. 2 seconds remaining. 1 second remaining. Okay, guys. I'm actually a little bit concerned right now. You're gonna laugh at me. 2,500. There's a yellow light. It's beeping at me. Open the window. Dog, open a window. All right, well, stream's ending soon anyway. Maybe this is why I can't talk. Yeah, it's beeping. It's mad at me. That explains the takes from earlier. Listen, if I've ever said anything incorrect, it was the gas speaking through me. Did you hear that I'm dying? Yeah, okay, gotcha. You're making it worse. Stop breathing. Hear me out. Pre-revolutionary France, ancien regime. First estate clergy today, media class, second estate nobility today, billionaires, third estate. Did you not hear about the carbon dioxide count, my friend? You're laying out a fucking... Excel spreadsheets are that away, buddy. First estate, second estate, third estate. I can barely read. I do agree fundamentally with what you're saying, though. Like in other words, or more specifically, the Catholic Church used to be the Epstein class. The Catholic Church used to be the source of like the political undercurrent that dictated the procession of events in the countries they controlled, regardless of who actually led in those countries. Yeah, in the same way that powerful aristocracies have done the same. Though I would argue that never has that control been as consolidated as it is right now.